Her triggers are driving you crazy. Let me tell you something. This is something we can address, but we're going to address this in a way that really changes everything for you. You're going to be able to use this with her. You can use it at work. You could use it with your kids. This is beautiful. Now, you'll find this kind of stuff in my books. I wrote 2 books, and you could also find it in the online course for men if your marriage is in trouble. Enough said about what we offer. Let's get into this. Her triggers, what you're really saying is that every time you do something, every time you say something, anytime something happens, it could not be you, it could be one of the kids, it could be something that happened, and she's reacting, right? Yes, that's what we mean by triggers. Now let me talk to you about what triggers actually are, what purpose they serve. Because when you know what purpose they serve, where they come from, it helps you stand back and see it better. But before we do that, what I want to do is I want to explain to you why you got married. You're going, what is this guy talking about? I worked for 8 years developing what I consider the science of marriage. And how I worked with it was I sat with individuals and with couples in live sessions. Until 2001, I was a divorce mediator, so I was used to working with people. But then a couple asked me to help them save their marriage. Everything changed. I did a deep dive into marriage. I got a deep understanding, and then I tested not the science behind marriage. And believe me, it has nothing to do with psychology or going to couples counseling. That stuff doesn't work. The science is a pragmatic approach to our interactions, not only with each other, but ourselves, understanding how she ticks as a woman, how you tick as a man, and how to make it happen and reach the place of unbelievable happiness in your marriage. Okay, why did you get married? I posed that question, and it's a very important question to ask, because I reasoned that when people want to save their marriage, going into the negative stuff like what you're asking us to do now with the triggers isn't going to help you at all. Having her change, asking her to change, is like trying to push a 10,000 ton brick. You're not going to achieve it. We cannot change another person. Therefore, we have to learn how to see her triggers and her very differently from how you're seeing it now. It really takes a shift in perspective. So let's understand what these triggers are. You have them too. You're going to be able to relate to this. All of us learned about self-preservation when we were in grade school, maybe middle school, high school, I don't know. I don't remember when I learned it, but we all know that it is embedded not just in us, not just in animals, but literally, scientifically, in every living cell. I call it the drive to survive, because that's what's pertinent in this regard. The drive to survive is a mechanism by which we do not allow danger to get within range. And we use our mind to filter everything, virtually everything, to determine whether it's going to harm us or give us something we want. This is self-preservation. There's things that will destroy us. There's things that will aid us. For instance, destroying us will be someone coming at us with a dagger. Helping us will be someone coming to us with $1 million. I can't remember when that happened to me, but you know what I'm talking about now. The triggers is the mind telling you danger. Now, there's positive triggers too. It's telling you hot fudge sundae. Good. It's telling you going camping in Hawaii. Good. It triggers a response. Now, her triggers that you're talking about that are destroying your mind are the negative ones, where she's reactive. And you're going right away, she's overreactive, man, I'm telling you. Sure, that's what happens. Why this happens is perfectly understandable now that you can tie this to this, right? So what do you do about it? That's really the question. The answer is this, and this goes back to why you got married in the first place. You got married to be happy. You found your soulmate. And I am not being, oh man, you found your soulmate. This is scientific. You found your soulmate. What is a soulmate? You are, I'm not getting religious here. You're a soul. She's a soul. That's what we are. Now we have a mind and we have a body. We already talked about how the mind is driven by self-preservation. And the body is embedded with this drive to survive, which tells the mind what to do, which means it's telling the mind what to do instead of you, meaning you, the soul. You got married to be happy. You knew that you would be happy with her because you fell in love with her. You felt love for her like you have never felt before. And it might have been fleeting, and it usually is. And it's just that memory of that love that you felt that you want to capture over and over and over again. What you can do, however, is recognize that this love is the soul connection. The word marriage means union. We've heard that before. And it is the union not of your minds, who are very different, men and women, not of your bodies. You connect your bodies when you're having sex or even when you touch each other. But it's a union of the souls. It's a very high experience when you recognize it. You know, if you're in an airplane and you fall asleep, you don't even know whether you're in the sky or on the ground because you're not paying attention. So you want to be happy. Loving her, not her loving you, loving her makes you happy. Now we're getting to the point. Her triggers are of her mind. They're not your triggers. I could say to you, and so what you're telling me is her triggers are triggering your triggers, and that would be accurate. What we do is we understand it first, and I've given you the understanding. The next thing to do is to recognize that as a soul, as someone in charge of your mind, not hers, you're able to literally transcend her triggers. What does that look like? It looks like this. You recognize when she's being triggered and you go into the love. You don't allow your trigger of her triggering you to dominate your consciousness. You go into love. You literally say, I love her. Wow, she's really hurting. Or something along those lines. In other words, you're recognizing her challenge. You're recognizing her getting beaten up by her triggers. Now, this applies to you too. You're getting beaten up by your triggers. And there's a lot you can do about it. This is part of the science that I developed that you find in my books. You've heard in these videos. You would find in the online course for men. This is a very important thing that is simply not taught by anybody because Western psychology, which dominates the marriage help category, is all about dragging out the dirty laundry, deciding what you can live with, what you can't live with, making deals. None of that works because that's not about love. What I'm talking about with you now is about love. In other words, you see what she's going through by being triggered. And instead of being triggered yourself, you rise above that consciousness that you're experiencing and you feel love for her and compassion, understanding. And you don't stop there. You don't stop there because it's not a one-off solution. what you do is you train your mind to recognize her as your soulmate instead of this person who is triggering you. Capiche? As my father, who's not Italian, used to say. You get it? So let me encapsulate what I just said. Her being triggered is not your problem. You are allowing your mind to make it your problem. You're allowing your mind to do it because it's a habit. We have to overcome our habits. And we have to transcend this situation of our mind's habit of being triggered by her being triggered and go back to that which works for you and your wife, which is love, right? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And now I'm going to talk to you about what we offer that's behind a paywall, if you don't mind. So if you got everything you need, God bless you and take care. Now let's get into what we offer. Now, if your marriage is doing okay, but you could use a little help, you can just watch these videos. It's free. Or you could read my articles. They're free. Or you could take the next step. Get one of my books. We have two books. One is Lessons for a Happy Marriage, and the other is Breaking the Cycle. And the only difference is one is a little more complicated because I wrote Breaking the Cycle for when I started to train marriage counselors into our system. Now, if your marriage is really like, oh my God, I don't know how long I could take this, then by all means, don't worry about the money. There's plans that start for less than $10 a week. Get the online course. We have one for women and we have one for men. They're both spectacular. And if both of you, and it's rare, but go to our website. And if your spouse wants to sign up too, they can, but later. First, you find out what it's all about. One thing I promise you is within days or weeks at the most, you will be blown away by the amazing changes that are happening already. God bless you. And please like this video, but more importantly, subscribe so you can get this entire series of the toxins that hit your marriage. I'm Paul Friedman. God bless you and take care.